The first morning it happened, you assumed it was an accident. You'd barely made it into the common room before spotting the cup sitting beside your usual seat at the long table. Steam curled softly from the lid, the faint scent familiar enough to make you pause mid-step. Chamomile, honey, a little milk. Exactly how you liked it. Your eyes narrowed slightly as you glanced around the room. Most of the class was still half asleep, scattered across couches and chairs in various states of exhaustion before homeroom. Kaminari was face down on the table. Mina was trying to braid Jiro's hair while she complained. Midoriya looked like he hadn't slept at all. Nobody seemed particularly interested in your drink. Weird, you murmured under your breath, as you picked it up carefully, warmth sinking into your palms, and took a cautious sip. Perfect. Maybe someone had grabbed the wrong order from the kitchen downstairs. Your eyes drifted across the room again, before landing on Shoto Todoroki, seated by the window. As usual, he sat straight-backed and quiet, one leg crossed over the other, while reading something on his phone. Morning light spilled across the side of his face, catching against white hair and the faint red mark near his left eye, completely uninterested in everyone around him. At least, that's what he looked like. Then his gaze lifted for half a second, just enough to see you holding the cup. Then just as quickly, he looked back down at his phone. The second morning, there was another cup waiting for you. Same tea, same seat. This time, still warm enough that whoever left it had to have done it recently. You looked around faster now. Kirishima waved enthusiastically when he noticed you looking. Sero was asleep. Ida was lecturing Bakugo about appropriate breakfast volume levels. And Todoroki sat by the window again. Same unreadable expression. You stared at him a little longer this time. When he looked up, there was a pause. Then very calmly, "You looked tired yesterday." Your eyebrows lifted. "So, you made me tea? You like this kind." Like that explained everything. "You remembered that?" "You order it after training." You honestly hadn't even realized he paid enough attention for that. Todoroki simply looked back at his phone again, the conversation apparently finished in his mind. Meanwhile, your chest did something small and strange. By the fifth morning, it had become routine. You'd come downstairs, and there would be tea waiting. Todoroki would already be there. Neither of you would mention it. At some point, though, your classmates absolutely started noticing.
"You two are disgustingly domestic,"
Mina announced one morning while pointing dramatically between the two of you. You nearly choked on your drink. Todoroki blinked. "We aren't married," Mina all but shrieked.
"That is not the part you should be correcting."
"You know what I mean."
"No, I really don't."
You tried hiding your laugh behind the cup, while Mina groaned loud enough for half the dorm to hear. Todoroki, somehow, remained completely serious through the entire exchange. Honestly, that made it worse. The thing about Todoroki was that people mistook quietness for distance. You had too at first, but over time, you started noticing the little things. The way he'd silently stand on the outside edge of sidewalks closest to traffic. How he remembered everyone's preferred study subjects and paired notes accordingly without being asked. The way he'd refill your water bottle if he noticed it empty during training. Small things, careful things. Things that said, "I notice you," without him ever having to say the words out loud. And maybe that was why the tea affected you so much. Because it wasn't random. It was consistent, intentional. Every morning, like he'd quietly carved space for you into his routine, and never thought to mention it. One evening, after an especially brutal training exercise, you stumbled into the dorms, exhausted beyond belief. Your muscles ached. Uniform was singed from Bakugo nearly blowing up half the training field. Aizawa had looked particularly dead inside all day, which usually meant everyone else suffered for it too. You dropped onto the couch with a long groan, pressing the heels of your hands into your eyes. "You alive?" You peeked through your fingers. Todoroki stood in the kitchen doorway, holding a kettle. "Barely." "That bad?" "I think my soul left my body around hour 3. That explains why Kaminari tried to microwave a protein bar, still wrapped.
You laughed weakly. Please tell me someone stopped him.
I tried to.
Tried?
There was smoke.
You stared at him. He stared back. Then, unexpectedly dry.
Recovery girl said he'll live.
A startled laugh escaped you before you could stop it. And, for the briefest second, Todoroki smiled. Small, quick, barely there, but real. Your chest tightened so suddenly it almost hurt. Because the thing was, Todoroki didn't smile often. So when he did, it felt important, like being handed something fragile. He walked over a moment later, setting a mug down on the coffee table in front of you. Steam drifted upward softly. Chamomile, honey, a little milk. You made tea again?
You relax more when you drink it.
Your heart genuinely did not know how to behave around him anymore. You looked up slowly. You pay attention to everyone a lot. For the first time all evening, Todoroki hesitated, just slightly, but enough to notice. His eyes shifted towards the steam curling from the cup before settling back on you.
I know what it's like when nobody notices things.
That hit harder than it should have. The room suddenly felt very still. Outside, rain tapped gently against the dorm windows. Somewhere upstairs, Kaminari yelled about a video game. Life continued around the two of you completely normally, while your heartbeat stumbled over itself. Todoroki looked like he regretted saying that much already, like maybe he'd revealed more than intended. So, softly, careful not to make it heavy, you said, "Well, I noticed things about you too." His gaze lifted again. There it was. That same strange stillness. The kind that only happened with him sometimes, where it felt like he looked at you too directly, too honestly.
What things?
You smiled a little into your cup. That's classified information.
You're refusing to answer?
Mm-hmm.
That seems unfair.
You'll survive.
I probably will.
But despite the words, there was something lighter in his expression now. Something warmer. And later that night, long after everyone else had gone upstairs, you'd realize something that made your face heat embarrassingly fast into your pillow. At some point, without either of you acknowledging it, Todoroki had memorized your routine. And somewhere along the way, you had memorized his too.